Welcome to The Explainer. All right, today we're tackling something huge. I mean, literally, the biggest thing on the planet, the Pacific Ocean.
So, to really wrap our heads around the scale we're dealing with, let's kick things off with a real mind-bender. Imagine you could drill a tunnel straight through the Earth's core to the other side. Could you actually end up in the same ocean?
Okay, this is wild, but in the Pacific, the answer is yes. You could start digging off the coast of Peru, go straight through the center of the Earth, and you'd pop up near Vietnam. And you'd still be swimming in the Pacific. That's because it's so vast it has its own antipodes. You know, points that are diametrically opposite each other on the globe. That's just incredible.
So why is it so hard to really grasp the Pacific's size? Well, a big part of the problem is just us, our perspective. From where we stand, down here on the ground, our eyes literally can't take it all in. It's just too big.
I mean, think about it. You're on a ship in the middle of it all, right? Your horizon is only about 5 kilometers away. Okay, let's go higher. You're in a plane, 10 kilometers up. Now you can see maybe 370 kilometers. Heck, even if you're an astronaut on the International Space Station, a full 400 kilometers high, you still can't see the whole thing at once. The curve of the Earth always hides it from you.
All right, so if our own eyes can't do the job, we're going to need a different way to measure this thing. Now, to really get it, we have to go cosmic.
Okay, get this. At its widest point, from Indonesia all the way to Colombia, the Pacific stretches for nearly 20,000 kilometers. That is halfway around the entire planet. To put that in perspective, you could take our moon and line up 5 of them side by side, and they would all fit across the Pacific, with room to spare. 5 moons.
So let's talk about surface area for a second. The Pacific Ocean covers about 165 million square kilometers. Now, what if you took all the land on Earth, every single continent, every island, and added it all up? You'd only get to about 148 million. That's right. The Pacific Ocean is bigger than all the land on our planet combined.
And we're not talking about a little bit. You could literally take Asia, Africa, North and South America, Antarctica, Europe, and Australia, drop them all into the Pacific, and there would still be a ton of ocean left over. It's an ocean big enough to swallow our entire world.
But why stop at continents? Let's talk about whole other planets. The entire surface area of Mars is about 148 million square kilometers. So yeah, you could take the entire planet Mars and plop it right into the middle of the Pacific, and it would just disappear, completely submerged.
So, we've covered how mind-bogglingly wide this ocean is. But that's just one dimension. The horizontal scale is only half the story. You have to look down, because its depth is just as staggering.
All right, so the deepest point on Earth is called the Challenger Deep, and it plunges down almost 11 kilometers. Here's how to think about that. You could take the tallest mountain on Earth, Mount Everest, and drop it into that trench, and its peak would still be more than 2 kilometers under the surface of the water. Just gone.
This incredible spot is in the Mariana Trench, right there in the Pacific. It's pretty much the most extreme environment you can imagine on our planet. Crushing pressure, absolute darkness. And the thing is, the Challenger Deep isn't some one-off fluke. The Pacific is actually home to a whole group of these super deep spots, kind of a 10-kilometer club for trenches. You've got the Tonga Trench, the Philippine Trench, the Kuril-Kamchatka, all of them plunging into that same kind of unimaginable deep.
Now, you might think something this huge and deep would be pretty calm and unchanging. But no, this thing is a restless giant. Underneath all that water, you've got some of the most powerful and dynamic forces on the entire planet at work. Get this, over 75,000 active volcanoes. A huge majority of all the world's active volcanoes are right there, inside the Pacific Basin. They're just constantly churning, reshaping the ocean floor.
And all that volcanic action, well, it's created over 25,000 islands scattered across the Pacific. That's way more than any other ocean on Earth. And that's why it's such a hotbed for unique ecosystems and incredible biodiversity.
See, all of this is happening because of the constant grinding of tectonic plates under the ocean. And that movement makes the Pacific the engine behind most of the world's earthquakes, the source of some truly devastating tsunamis, and it's why the entire region is famously known as the Ring of Fire.
Okay, so we've got volcanoes, earthquakes, tsunamis, all this incredibly violent, restless activity, which kind of makes you wonder, how on earth did it get its name? Because the name is, well, it's a huge irony.
It all goes back to the explorer Ferdinand Magellan.
Back in 1521, after this really brutal journey, he finally sailed into this vast ocean, and as luck would have it, it was a perfectly calm day. So he named it Mar Pacifico, which literally means peaceful sea. Talk about lucky timing, right?
And that's the great contradiction right there. You have the most geologically violent, active region on the entire planet, a place of constant creation and destruction, and it's named for being peaceful. A pretty calm name for a very, very restless giant.
So, in the end, the Pacific isn't just about its unbelievable size or its raw power. It's also about the fact that it's always changing. Those same tectonic plates are actually causing it to shrink just a tiny bit, a few centimeters every year, while the Atlantic gets wider. This giant is never still, which leaves us with one last big question to think about. What's our world map even going to look like in another 500 years?